Welcome back to another episode of the React Native Radio Podcast. Episode 338, React Native Enterprise Framework, with Michał Pierzchała.
Robin, as far as I know, Mazen's baby has not arrived yet.
That's what I've heard.
So why is he not here? He should be here helping us right now.
Well, he actually is here. Spoiler alert, he's not recording, but he's listening. He's just kind of in those last phases where it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be 2 weeks from now. Who knows? Right. But it's easier just to clear his plate as much as possible. Did
you go over your due dates with your two kids?
I did not. I had one kid show up on his due date, which is actually pretty rare. Nice. And the other showed up 2 days early. So they were actually
that's pretty close.
Prompt.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that my 4 kids were all pretty close to their due dates. I don't remember though.
Kyra probably does.
She does. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm sure she does. I don't know. I have a hard time remembering stuff like that.
But yeah, you probably won't hear Mazen on the show for a few episodes, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then we'll be happy to have him back once he is a dad times 2.
Yeah, probably tired, like really tired and a little bit incoherent and stuff. So he'll just sound a lot more like me then. All right. Well, we do have a show to do here, and we actually have a guest as well. So I'm Jamon. She's Robin. Mazen's out. We're React Native Radio, and today we have a very special guest, Michał Pierzchała. Okay, how did I do on that?
That was pretty good.
It's close. I did better in the practice, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we weren't recording then, so...
I know. Yeah. All right, go ahead and say your name, and go ahead and introduce yourself, Mike.
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm Michał Pierzchała, a principal engineer responsible for open source at Callstack. I worked there for over 7 years now, and pretty happy doing the open source working in the field of testing, CLIs, generally doing tools for other developers. This is what I find pretty satisfying, impactful, and I just enjoy doing so. It's great to be on this podcast with all of you here, Robin, Jamon, and all of the people backstage that you'll probably not hear in this conversation.
Yeah, unless something goes horribly wrong, then you might hear them. No, we appreciate all of them. We appreciate you coming on too. Of course, I've known you for a long time. I wonder, did we meet probably at one of the React Native EUs back in the day, or maybe Chain React or something? But I feel like we've been connected for years and years, at least 6-7 years, probably.
Yeah, probably
maybe longer.
Probably around that.
Yeah, very cool. And of course, you've hosted us over in Poland a few times. Won't make it this year, which is sad for me, but I always really enjoy going over there to Wrocław and hanging out with you folks.
Yeah. And next time when you're gonna be there, I hope it's gonna be next year. I hope you're gonna extend your trip to go to Krakow, where I live on the daily basis, and I can tell you there is this great little craftsman workshop that this guy is doing his custom chessboards and chess figures.
Oh, that's cool.
So I figured
I would love that.
Yeah, that would be something that's gonna interest you. So hope you're gonna.
I really should. Yeah, I've been 3 times to Wrocław, but I've never been to Krakow, and I've never really gone anywhere else in Poland. I think in 2019, which was my first time there, I actually took a train down to Prague, and then I rented a car and went like across Germany and stuff, and took a week doing that, and that was really cool. But I didn't spend a lot of time in Poland other than for the conference itself. So that would be a lot of fun.
Well, and Jamon loves chess and woodworking to some extent. Like your dad's a woodworker.
Yeah, it's more my dad. He would love. He actually made me a chessboard. Let me grab it. The listeners can't see this, but my dad made this.
I didn't know that. I knew
me.
he'd made you like cutting boards and other stuff. I didn't know he made you chessboard.
Pretty nice.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it turned out really amazing. I don't get a chance to play like over the board, really, except for against my son Cedric, who's like almost an 1800, so he just destroys me every time. You know, I'm like, I just hit 1,000 again last night somehow. Two guys just resigned in the middle of probably beating me, and so I ended up bumping up to 1,000. But yeah, 1,000 is basically, if you don't know chess, 1,000 is basically like if you're a really casual player who just, you know, played it in like middle school or something, I will destroy you every time. But if you're any sort of a serious player, then you'll destroy me. That's just how chess is. I don't know. It's like, no matter how good you get, unless you're Magnus Carlsen, there's always someone who can destroy you.
Didn't Magnus Carlsen just get beat by somebody a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it's huge news anytime he's ever beat. Like, it's
I was like, even
news.
I heard about it now.
I think that the best player in the world is Magnus Carlsen, and the second best is drunk Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen.
All right. Anyway, enough about that. Before we get too much further, our sponsor is Infinite Red. We are React Native consultancy located in the U.S. We have a team of 30 Senior Plus React Native developers and support staff, and have been doing this for almost a decade. Go to infinite.red/radio to, I guess, get in touch with us. Don't forget to mention that you heard about us through the React Native Radio podcast. All right, let's talk about our topic. We are talking about RNEF, and everybody knows what that stands for, I'm sure. RNEF. So I don't even have to say, no, I'll say it. React Native Enterprise Framework. So a while back, the React Native core team said, we encourage you to use React Native with a framework, because if you don't, you're going to build one every time. And I suspect that, Mike, I bet you're going to be kind of talking about, you know, how with actual clients you ended up building a lot of this stuff over and over. And so that's where this came from. Of course, the most famous and probably first framework is Expo, and that's what everybody's kind of, you know, used to hearing about. But it's really nice to see other options popping up, maybe aimed at other use cases and things like that. And so, of course, I want to give a little background too before I hand things off and start asking questions. But Callstack built the original React Native command line interface tool, or the React Native Community CLI, which it's called now. And you've maintained it for years. Robin, you knew that, right? Like, did you know that?
I don't know that I knew
Callstack
that, actually.
that?
I bet there's a lot of people that didn't know that Callstack is behind the React Native CLI. Because, I mean, it's always like under the React Native like community repo. I don't think I necessarily put two and two together, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It was actually built into the core for a while and then removed. And I think Mike Grabowski made that originally, right?
Yeah, it was and RNPM. Another great name.
We were talking about RNPM and the days, it's like the days before auto linking and after auto linking.
Yeah,
I remember having to run RNPM link and all that stuff. But
exactly.
Different days.
We should probably have Mike Grabowski on to talk about that history. It'd be kind of fun. But now you've built a new CLI and actually a whole framework, React Native Enterprise Framework. And it's pretty impressive. We in our prep for this, we read through all the documentation. We looked at a lot of there's a lot there already. Like I was surprised how much was there. It's clear you've been putting a ton of work into this. And we'll go into the why and the how. Michał, can you give us the elevator pitch for what React Native Enterprise Framework is, you know, assuming your audience is React Native developers?
Yeah, so React Native Enterprise Framework, or RNEF in short, and please treat it as a code name for now. We have a new exciting name for this project, which we're gonna reveal somewhere in July, I guess, when I'm gonna be back from vacation.
Maybe about the time that this is released. So yeah,
hopefully.
we if you give it to us before we release it, we could actually update the title. And so for those of you coming in, if the title is different, that's why. We don't know the name yet, but we may get it before we publish.
He doesn't trust us to give it to us now because
I won't leak it, but you know.
Promise.
Can't do it yet.
That's okay. Yeah.
But I hope it's gonna stick.
By the way, this happened to us for Radon, the editor as well.
Yes, we did an episode about, but we just called it the React Native IDE, and then they named it Radon.
Yeah, right after. So
we released that.
The title was wrong.
So
anyway,
I would say we're in
all good.
Pretty similar situation here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as the name implies, it's a framework for building React Native applications that we target for big companies or enterprise, as we say. And we have basically two kinds of users. First kind is the users of community CLI that are building a lot of the tooling on top of that set of tools related to publishing, to building, and building in the release, because there is no good way to build release artifacts with the community CLI, and we want this kind of user to have better experience working with React Native. And what we're actually after is that the user of our library is likely a small infrastructure team in a bigger company that is providing tools for those dozens or hundreds of developers out there who just want to work on the JavaScript parts of React Native applications. They don't want to deal with Xcode. They don't want to deal with Android Studio. They want to switch quickly between projects, between branches, maybe between web and mobile. So we're building a tool that's optimized for that use case. And the second kind of user is the native iOS and Android applications that want to incrementally adopt React Native, something that we call a brownfield development, something that's been possible with React Native from the very beginning. But historically, it required anyone who would like to adopt React Native and native application to adjust their folder structure, add a bunch of JavaScript tooling to their repository, and for iOS, add CocoaPods when most of the projects already moved on past that. They're using SPM, maybe Carthage, but I think it's not really used anymore. In most of the cases, at least we haven't seen that. But SPM or Swift Package Manager is universally used in almost any iOS application, and for Android, it's also a lot of internal React Native dependencies that someone would need to adopt as their own dependencies, which makes it really hard to maintain when upgrading React Native. So our framework has a set of tools and like our something that we call a packaging approach to treat all of your React Native application as a single library, single framework artifact that you can just import without JavaScript, without CocoaPods. You're basically linking that framework. You're installing as a part of that our runtime helpers library, which is called React Native Brownfield. And this gives you a way to easily start new React Native instances and instantiate React Native views whenever you like, however you like. It doesn't have to be an app delegate. It can be in scene delegates, and it can be in some Swift UI views, or in regular Swift controllers, part of navigation or not. So essentially, the framework is giving you easy way to start up and display React Native application and treat it as a whole thing. And whenever you need to upgrade React Native, you're just asking your new React Native team for a new package, and you just use that. So you can distribute it through Artifactory or through Git submodule or anywhere around that. So these are the two kinds of use cases and users that we are currently focusing on, and there is actually a third kind of user, which is like universal cross-platform apps that are available for any platform out there, including TV, desktop, mobiles, tablets. There's the big variety on the TV space alone, and this is something that fundamentally we've designed the framework to be compatible with all of that, but we're not in the place where it's ready to use. So currently I'm talking about those two kind of users. At the same time, it's very important for us that this framework allows you to build those universal apps that you could run on any platform out there. And overall, we're treating that framework, and I heard it's not the best way to describe it, but we internally we treat it as a spiritual successor to the community CLI. So there is a lot of ideas that are transferring. We want this tool to be easy to migrate, so migration shouldn't take more than 10 minutes, and then probably a few days of testing. That's the reality, and we want to give those bigger React Native users a really pleasant experience working with React Native, where they can own the whole infrastructure because it's all open source. Some of the features that we've built around the framework, such as remote caching of the native artifacts, native binaries, is built around self-hosting. The over-the-air updates that we're gonna integrate soon is also about choosing your own infrastructure. So we're not a server company. We don't provide any kind of ready-to-use service like servers for you to run your code. The users that we are targeting, they usually have their own infrastructure.
Right. They're already using GitHub Actions or whatever.
Yeah,
usually GitHub Actions is what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, or Google Cloud or Azure or anything out there, or usually all of that. And what we find, this is past the elevator pitch.
Long elevator.
Now this is the escalator pitch.
Yeah.
We just keep going. I just keep hitting 1 and 39 over and over, and we keep going up and down. That's all right though, Mike.
It's okay. I love it.
I'm taking a bunch of notes is what I'm doing. One thing that really stood out, there's a lot there that is very interesting, but one thing that stood out is the over-the-air updates. I think that's something we've been hearing a lot from our enterprise clients is what options do we have? Because obviously there's Expo, but that doesn't always match with what they're trying to do. As much as we love Expo, and I know you do too, but there's sometimes just a mismatch on certain vectors around it. And the over-the-air updates has been a big question now that Microsoft's App Center is no longer a thing, and how do you deploy this? And you can kind of do it yourself, and there's some others that provide it like CodeMagic and whatnot. But what if we just have what if I have my own servers in my own data center? What do I do, or however you want to handle that? So that is something that you're targeting with this then.
That as well. And what's interesting is that often the users that we are targeting with the with our framework, they're somewhere deep in the company structure. They don't have all the all the ownership of the tools they are using, or the power to even add new tools. So adding any other third-party self-service like Expo, app services, where to run EAS even locally, you need to sign up for their cloud service, which sometimes is a blocker for those some companies that we were talking or we're working with at the very least. They're essentially then blocked from this great user experience of using EAS, but they have their own infrastructure, and they can run a lot of that themselves, and they're usually fine with doing that for various reasons. So we try to make it a little bit easier for them and for us, create a interesting base and space for innovation in the React Native ecosystem, because we have some ideas that may end up being super experimental or controversial even, and we want to have a testing ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that kind of answers a maybe unspoken question on why we're not just evolving the community CLI, and instead of that we're doing our own thing. We found there is a tremendous level of freedom in doing so, something that we haven't really realized, and we felt like we're in a really good position to grab it.
We had something similar. We still have something similar with our Ignite like starter kit, which is really aimed more at Expo users than enterprise.
Yeah, and it's aimed mostly at the app development itself.
Right. Yeah.
Like the JavaScript.
But we had our own CLI, and we were able to do some kind of like innovative things that probably wouldn't really work with more of the community CLI that has to be.
Yeah, or with Expo.
Yeah. And necessarily like more, there's more stakeholders. And so you have to kind of navigate that, where if you do start something new, yeah, that makes sense.
You know, like you talk a lot about how you're specifically targeting enterprise companies and their unique needs. Is this a tool that like you would recommend anybody pick up? I mean, is there like someone who's just like building an app on their own or with their small team of 2 or 3 developers? Is this still going to be a useful tool for them? Is it going to be maybe too big of a hammer? Like the people who are listening who are like, hey, should I pick this up and use it? What's kind of the answer to that?
Yeah, this is a simple but tricky question. So I'll start with: are you able to use it in a small team or being a solo developer? Yes, you can do that, and with and it's actually like pretty damn pleasant to work with it. Like I'm doing some small example projects, and I love like how quickly I can iterate because of the 2 layers of caching that we have. First for local builds. So once you've built locally, when you don't have a remote cache set up, next time you're building, we're gonna reach through from that cache. So we're storing your APK for Android or IPA or APP actually most of the times on iOS. We store it in our cache, and when it's there and it matches the project's native fingerprint, which is like a representation of its iOS and Android folders, to make it simple, and describing it as a single number, MD5 hash. This gives us this certainty that when this hash matches with what we have in our cache, we can grab that version instead of rebuilding your Android or iOS project from scratch or even leveraging their cache. So it's super fast this way. So you can just npx RNEF run Android or run iOS, and you don't even need to like previously I would rather start Metro server and open up some cached version of my app on the device or emulator, and then refresh a bunch of times so that Metro kicks in, etc. And now I'm just running those run commands, and it just works, and it works really quickly. And when I have access to the remote cache, where someone on my team or me from yesterday, for example, is working on something on their branch, and it triggers this build on the continuous integration server somewhere in GitHub Actions, for example, I can use the same command, and it will, instead of reaching for local cache if it's not there, use the same mechanism to calculate this hashing or this fingerprint representation of the project, and just check if it's there on some remote server. If it's there, it will download and install on my device and run again. So it's pretty pleasant to work even as a solo developer, and you don't need to configure anything else to leverage that local caching. We have it built in to the project because we figured we could make it configurable as our remote cache provider, but not being remote, but rather local. It's the same concept, so we could use that, but we figured it's everyone should have easy access to it. Unless they want to opt out, you can always run the local flag and it will build. So yeah, it's usable for solo developers. And for the former part of the question, who would I recommend using it? I would say that if for any good or bad reason, because there are good and bad reasons, you cannot use Expo and Expo app services, or even local version, then having an alternative as RNEF gets you in a pretty similar experience, although we're far behind in terms of the overall DX that Expo has, but we're getting there. So when I would want to start a new app, I would start with Expo. But if I would start a new app as a enterprise engineer, I probably wouldn't have that much freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
If you know you're building an app at scale, like at huge scale, and you have you're going to have certain needs, and we have plenty of clients who can't use Expo for lots of reasons. Yeah,
that's the main thing. Like, you still need a lot of the stuff that Expo is building, but and we're, and I'm sure the same with Callstack. We have deployed Expo, with large applications and many users, so it's not like it's impossible to do.
But we also have clients who still can't use it for any number of reasons, and we kind of work around it. But having a tool like this, I think, would be pretty useful in a lot of cases.
I don't know if I should say that. Well, I'm not going to say who it is, but we have a client that actually asked us to use our own Expo account, our own everything account.
We literally do their development builds on our EAS
because they can't get it through their system. So they're just like, can you just do that?
They can't get their security team to because they use SSO and all this stuff, and there's all these steps to get something like that approved for you. So they're like, can you just do it and share the bells with us?
Seems crazy,
but it does.
But it's the reality of working with with big companies.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but it sounds like there's not so many there are some tools out there where the benefit for a really large organization is enough that you put up with maybe a lot of configuration and some pretty extensive setup to get those benefits. But it sounds like this is a tool that, even though it's kind of targeted for those advanced use cases, even if you're a smaller company or a solo dev, it's very easy to use regardless.
That's the goal. So what we see, and I suppose this is something that you also observe as a similar type of company that is working for those enterprise companies is we are building this for, I like to say, for power users, for those infrastructure teams that are either internal or external in the form of Callstack experts or Infinite Red React Native experts, just filling out this gap in the engineering side of certain companies. And these developers usually know what they're doing, and they have team members that often don't really know what they're doing in terms of native setup for React Native, and for a good reason, because as React Native engineers, we're super skewed towards like big complexity and switching between languages, environments, being like web, Android, iOS, desktops. And it starts to be, to me as an engineer, it's pretty exciting and refreshing. So it keeps me sharp, I guess, over the long run. But for most of engineers,
not everybody.
Yeah, they like just want to ship features with React.
Right.
So the infrastructure teams are responsible for providing those feature teams. That's the usual setup that we see, and that actually works pretty good. So if we don't see it, we try to make it. Those teams are making UI libraries, are making like SDKs to some standard things to interact with state, with networking, with analytics. A lot of the work that should be like abstracted away from the feature team, so they can iterate quickly, experiment, write those A/B tests or whatever they need to actually keep the business alive, right? For that particular application.
I just have to really quick jump back to something you said earlier. In case I maybe misunderstood you, I want to double check something. You said something about potentially not needing CocoaPods. Did I mishear that? Or are you going to have linking without CocoaPods in with the CLI?
The thing with CocoaPods is that we still require it. There is a we vastly rely on the almost the same template as the React Native community /template. So it's CocoaPods there. CocoaPods are heavily ingrained into core of React Native, and there is a initiative in the core the React Native team to decouple the core from CocoaPods.
Yeah.
And what we're doing this clever trick, and in the brownfield environment specifically, we rely on the fact that there are actually two apps. You have iOS, for example, app, like native app, and you have your React Native app. And this React Native app is using CocoaPods. It can use whatever they like. And as a enterprise framework, we're providing a single command to package it all together as a single artifact or a bunch of XC frameworks for iOS.
Okay, yeah.
And so that iOS app doesn't really care about the build system that we have. Yeah, it's all abstracted away. But it's a fair question, because we currently rely on the auto-linking that is built into the community CLI. And we are probably going to explore like our custom, our own way of linking stuff automatically. It's not like a big priority for now, but we see some use cases where this could be helpful.
Yeah. There's a Ruby gem called Xcode Proj that comes with CocoaPods that I know provides a lot of the like Xcode Proj editing tools, which is a very difficult thing to do scripting wise, if you don't use this. I know I used it for my sort of auto linking library, React Native Colo Loco, which essentially allows you to put your native files right alongside your JavaScript files and then link them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think this is what we leveraged for the Xcode npm package actually as well, in the legacy CLI, like in our npm basically. Before the auto linking, and then we moved to the newer system, and I think for RNEF, we want to adopt the another idea from Expo, which is continuous native generation, or CNG. Where using the Expo config plugin specification, we will allow to recreate basically iOS or Android or other platform folders using those config plugins and some configuration. So we want to make it compatible with Expo. That's for sure. So that existing Expo config plugins they're gonna stay, and our users will like to use let's say community Expo libraries, not only Expo SDK. So yeah, this is probably one of the most important features that we will need to implement in the upcoming months.
Yeah, for sure. I think continuous native generation is one of the key reasons that Expo shifted from something that people were hesitant to adopt to something that people were like, oh, okay, yeah. This
I think that was,
now pretty much everyone's using it.
That was pretty game changing for them.
Yeah.
And there's actually good prior art. I want to give a shout out to the project called RNTA, or React Native Test App, where Tommy from Microsoft, the Microsoft's project, they're using that internally to power Office. I think services. This is what they're calling it. I don't know if it's because of the Surface laptop or.
I was gonna say it was like the Surface computer.
At Meta they call it experiences. I think, or it's vice versa actually. Yeah, I think Meta calls it Surface. And,
okay, interesting.
And Microsoft calls it Experience. So yeah, that was the Windows Surface or whatever it's called. It's debugged, I guess. So this tool anyway has integration with Expo config plugins. They make a pretty creative use of it. So we essentially want to adopt the same idea of doing that, which is actually pretty cool testament to the design of Expo config plugins on their own, because you can use them in a non-Expo specific scenarios. Similarly, the Expo fingerprint library, which we are currently using for fingerprinting, although we're experimenting with replacing that with some of our own libraries for internal use.
I have a lot more questions, but Robin just reminded me that we're running over time for our usual podcast length. So the good news is that I think Callstack has some media out about this. There's the what's the new name of the podcast? I always think of it as the old name.
React Universe on Air
podcast. Yeah, On Air. That's right. So go listen. Michał has it. We'll link to it in the show notes. But there's an interview there where he talks about this framework. I'm sure that you're going to be putting out more information about this over time. And I want to just say, thanks to Callstack for investing in these types of tools as open source. I think it helps the whole community, not only as a tool that we can use, which I'm sure we're going to be looking at. Like Robin and I already have some potential use cases for this, but also I just think it helps the React Native community in general to have more viable paths for more companies. Like there's a lot of companies that are like, well, React Native's fine, but we end up having to do a whole bunch of extra work because we can't use Expo or something. And that's a reasonable, criticism. But this gives another path, and this gives another option, another framework that we can look at, and you can kind of build on this foundation. So appreciate all the work that you and who else is involved in the project over there at Callstack?
Yeah, so currently the team is me and we started in a small team of 3 developers. Maciej Jastrzębski, who is also maintaining the React Native testing library and Reassure, and Jamon and Robin,
Shimon,
who is doing a lot of different things. Recently, local AI or like offline AI models running on device. Pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. So we started as this team of 3, where combined we have like 1 full-time equivalent of time working on it. So now it's a little less because as you can imagine, I have some other things that I'm focusing.
Other responsibilities.
Other than the RNEF. Although I have a fair bit of time on that. So as an engineer, I'm pretty happy about it. And at the same time, pretty pissed that it's always, there's always something more to do, something that I could improve. So I guess it's just the way it is, right? The projects are never done, design is never done, and I learned to cope with unfinished projects.
It's so true, especially in software, but I think anything, maybe even a chessboard, there's always something you might want to do differently. Appreciate you coming on and talking about this, and it's always great to catch up with you, Michał. Won't make it this year, but hopefully, like you said, next year, hopefully can get back over there and also check out your home city. That'd be fun. If people want to ask you questions or just follow along with how things are going, where are you at on socials?
So on X or Twitter formerly, and on GitHub, I'm under Thymike handle, Thymike, and you can DM me directly. You can find me on Discord as well. We link to the Discord channel, the React Native Enterprise Framework GitHub. You can go to rnef.dev, which is the documentation for the project as well. So you can find, I guess, most of the necessary information out there. I appreciate you, Jamon, saying it's very thorough. I think there's still a lot of things missing there, as with any documentation. And we'll still need to find some sweet spot about documenting the tool versus some good practices around building stuff. That's one of the reasons that we're, apart from documentation, we write books on good practices in performance development, or recently we finished a small book on brownfield integrations.
Awesome.
That we're gonna reveal on today's meetup in New York.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, looking forward to that as well. Your performance guide is amazing. Definitely looking forward to that.
Read it every year.
Yeah,
very cool.
You. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate it. And as always, you can check us out online on Twitter and whatnot. So follow us for other updates. And I think that's all we have time for today. Yeah. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you all next time.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
As always, thanks to our editor, Todd Worth, our assistant editors, Jed Bartosky and Tyler Williams, our marketing and episode release coordinator, Justin Husky, and our guest coordinator, Mazen Chami. Our producers and hosts are Jamon Holmgren, Robin Hines, and Mazen Chami. Thanks to our sponsor, Infinite Red. Check us out at infinite.red/red. Radio. A special thanks to all of you listening today. Make sure to subscribe to React Native Radio on all the major podcasting platforms.